My beloved child, listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is something your heart has been longing to hear for a very long time. You have spent so many days wondering when things would finally change. You have watched seasons come and go. You have watched other people move forward. You have watched doors open for others while your own prayers seem trapped in silence. And slowly, without even realizing it, you began to lower your expectations. You stopped hoping as boldly. You stopped dreaming as freely. You stopped expecting good things to happen. Not because you wanted to, but because disappointment had exhausted you. Every setback taught you to be cautious. Every delay taught you to protect your heart. Every unanswered question taught you not to expect too much. And little by little, the enemy used those disappointments to build an invisible wall around your expectations. A wall made from fear, a wall made from doubt, a wall made from old wounds, a wall made from past failures. And now, whenever a new possibility appears, part of you immediately prepares for disappointment. Part of you says, don't get your hopes up. Don't expect too much. You've been disappointed before. My beloved child, that voice is not mine, because I have not called you to live expecting defeat. I have not called you to live preparing for disappointment. I have not called you to live assuming the worst. I have called you to trust me. And right now, I need you to hear something that may be difficult to believe. The door you have been praying for is much closer than you think. Not someday, not years from now, closer, far closer than you realize. The problem is that most people misunderstand how breakthrough arrives. They imagine it appearing suddenly. They expect a dramatic announcement, a giant sign, an unmistakable miracle. But often the greatest changes begin quietly, like sunrise. When darkness starts to disappear, the world does not change instantly. The first light appears almost unnoticed. The horizon begins to glow. The darkness slowly loses its power, and before anyone realizes it, a new day has arrived. My child, that is exactly what is happening in your life right now. The first light has already appeared. The change has already begun. The shift is already underway. You simply cannot see the full picture yet. That is why I need you to stop judging your future based on your current circumstances. Because what you see today is not the complete story. You see delays. I see alignment. You see obstacles. I see preparation. You see waiting. I see positioning. You see uncertainty. I see opportunity approaching. There are things moving right now that you know nothing about. Conversations you have not heard. Opportunities you have not seen. People you have not met. Doors you have not discovered. Answers already traveling toward you. Blessings already being prepared. Breakthroughs already taking shape. My child, heaven does not operate according to what your eyes can see. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean movement is absent. Remember the seed beneath the soil. Remember the roots growing underground. Remember the preparation hidden from human sight. Many of the greatest works I perform begin where nobody can see them, including you, especially you, because the enemy has spent so much time trying to convince you that nothing is changing. He wants you to become discouraged right before the breakthrough arrives. He wants you to quit right before the answer appears. He wants you to stop believing right before the door opens, because he knows something you do not. He knows your season is changing. That is why the resistance increased. That is why the pressure intensified. That is why fear became louder. Darkness often reacts when it senses what is coming. The enemy cannot stop my plans, but he can try to discourage my children before they reach them. That has always been his strategy. Yet, my beloved child, you are still standing, still listening, still believing, still seeking me, and that matters more than you realize. Because every prayer you prayed was heard. Every tear was collected. Every moment of faith was seen. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was forgotten. Nothing was overlooked. I know there were moments when you felt forgotten. Moments when you questioned your value. Moments when you wondered whether your life would ever become different. But hear me now, you are not forgotten. You have never been forgotten. You are deeply known, deeply loved, deeply remembered. And the future I have prepared for you is still intact. No mistake has canceled it. No delay has destroyed it. No failure has erased it. No opposition has defeated it. Because what I have spoken over your life remains true. My promises do not expire. My plans do not fail. My purposes do not disappear. And what I began, I will complete. That is why I gave this promise. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. Notice carefully. The scripture does not say you opened the door. It says, I set it before you. The door is my responsibility. Your responsibility is trust. The door is my assignment. Faith is yours. The opportunity is mine to provide. The courage to walk through it is yours to choose. And my child, I sense something happening even now. As you listen, hope is beginning to awaken again. A small spark, a quiet expectation, a feeling that perhaps your story is not ending where you thought it would. That feeling is not accidental, because the truth is this: your story is not ending. It is transitioning. You are not stuck. You are being repositioned. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not abandoned. You are being guided. And soon, very soon, you will begin noticing signs, small confirmations, unexpected opportunities, divine alignments, moments that seem ordinary but carry extraordinary meaning. Pay attention when they appear, because they are evidence that the season is shifting, evidence that the door is approaching, evidence that the waiting is not forever. My beloved child, the breakthrough you seek may not arrive exactly how you imagined. It may not come through the path you expected. It may not appear in the form you anticipated, but it is coming. And when it arrives, you will understand why every delay mattered. You will understand why every lesson mattered. You will understand why every closed door was necessary. And you will see that I was guiding you all along. But before that door opens fully, there is something else we must address. Something that has quietly delayed many of my children. Something more powerful than fear, something more dangerous than opposition, something hidden inside the human heart. A struggle that often keeps people standing outside the very door they prayed for. Stay with me, because in the next part, I will reveal the real thing holding you back. And once you understand it, everything begins to change. The door is near. But first, there is one thing you must release. If you believe God is preparing a door that no one can shut, type Amen in the comments below. And if this message is speaking directly to your heart, subscribe and stay with this journey, because the next part may reveal exactly what has been holding you back. My beloved child, you have come farther than you realize. You have survived storms you thought would destroy you. You have endured seasons you thought would never end. You have remained standing through battles that should have broken your spirit. And now the door is closer than ever. The season is shifting. The breakthrough is approaching. The answer is nearer than you think. But before you can fully step into what I have prepared, there is something we must talk about. Something many people never recognize, something hidden, something subtle, something that often stands between my children and the very blessing they have been praying for. Listen carefully, because this next truth may be difficult to hear. The greatest obstacle in your life right now may not be the enemy. It may not be your circumstances. It may not be the people who hurt you. It may not be the setbacks. It may not even be the closed doors. The greatest obstacle may be your need to control what only I can carry. My child, you have been carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. You have been trying to solve problems that were never yours to solve. You have been exhausting yourself, attempting to manage outcomes that were always in my hands. And because of that, your spirit has become weary, not because you are weak, but because you are carrying weight you were never designed to hold. I see it. I see the mental battles, the endless overthinking, the constant calculations, the endless attempts to predict every possible outcome. You call it preparation. Sometimes it is fear wearing the disguise of preparation. You call it responsibility. Sometimes it is worry pretending to be responsibility. You call it wisdom. Sometimes it is simply the desire to feel safe through control. And I understand why. You have been hurt before. You have been disappointed before. You have trusted before and felt let down. So now part of you believes that if you can control enough variables, you can avoid future pain. If you can anticipate every problem, you can prevent disappointment. If you can understand every detail, you can feel secure. But my beloved child, that is not trust, that is survival. And survival is not the same thing as faith. Faith does not require complete understanding. Faith requires trust in the one who understands. That is why my word says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Notice what I did not say. I did not say understand everything first. I did not say have every answer first. I did not say eliminate every uncertainty first. I simply said trust, because trust becomes necessary where understanding ends. If you already knew every answer, faith would not be required. If you could already see the entire path, trust would not be necessary. If you could control every outcome, you would never learn dependence on me. And that is why many people remain stuck, not because the door is closed, but because they refuse to release the handle of control. They pray for guidance, then try to manage every detail themselves. They ask me to lead, then resist every direction they cannot fully understand. They ask for peace, then spend every waking hour worrying. My child, does this sound familiar? Have you been asking me to carry burdens while secretly holding on to them? Have you been praying for answers while refusing to release control? Have you been asking for peace while continuing to feed fear? I ask these questions not to condemn you. I ask because I love you, because I see how tired you are becoming. I see the pressure, I see the exhaustion, I see the anxiety that has quietly attached itself to your thoughts. And I want something better for you. I want freedom, real freedom. Not freedom because every problem disappears, but freedom because you finally stop carrying what belongs to me. Imagine a traveler carrying a heavy backpack across a long journey. At first, the weight feels manageable, but mile after mile, hour after hour, the burden becomes exhausting. Eventually, the traveler becomes convinced that the pain is simply part of life, that the exhaustion is normal, that carrying the weight is unavoidable. Then someone offers to carry the load, yet the traveler refuses, not because help is unavailable, but because the burden has become familiar. My child, some of your burdens have become familiar. Some fears have become familiar. Some worries have become familiar. Some patterns of thinking have become familiar, and familiarity can be dangerous because people often mistake familiar pain for necessary pain. But I never asked you to carry all of this. I never asked you to carry tomorrow's problems. I never asked you to carry other people's expectations. I never asked you to carry every possible outcome. I never asked you to carry the future. That responsibility belongs to me, and the longer you try to hold it, the heavier it becomes. My beloved child, what if the breakthrough you seek is not waiting for more effort? What if it is waiting for surrender? What if the peace you desire is not found through greater control? What if it is found through greater trust? What if the door is already opening, but your hands are so full of fear that you cannot reach for it? Think about that. You cannot receive what I want to place in your hands if they remain tightly closed around worry. You cannot fully embrace the future while refusing to release the past. You cannot walk freely while dragging every burden behind you. At some point, trust requires release. At some point, faith requires surrender. At some point, you must decide whether you believe my promises more than your fears. And I know that is difficult because surrender feels risky. Control feels safer, at least it appears safer. But control creates an illusion of security. Trust creates real security because control depends on human strength. Trust depends on divine strength. Control depends on limited understanding. Trust depends on infinite wisdom. Control depends on circumstances. Trust depends on me, and I have never failed you. Not once. You may not understand every decision I have made. You may not understand every delay. You may not understand every season. But my faithfulness remains unchanged. The same God who protected you yesterday is protecting you today. The same God who carried you through previous storms will carry you through this one. The same God who opened doors before can open them again. My child, I am not asking you to have perfect faith. I am simply asking you to let go of what was never yours to carry. One burden at a time, one fear at a time, one worry at a time, one surrender at a time. And when you do, something extraordinary begins to happen. Peace returns, clarity returns, hope returns, strength returns, because your spirit was never designed to function under the weight of constant control. It was designed to rest in my care. But now another question remains, a deeper question, because if control is the obstacle, if surrender is the key, then what exactly is heaven waiting to hear from you? What response could unlock the next season? What answer have I been waiting for all along? Stay with me, my child, because the next part brings us to the very center of this entire message. The question is no longer whether I am speaking. The question is whether you are ready to answer. And that answer may change everything, my beloved child. Stay with me. Do not allow your attention to drift, because everything we have spoken about until now has been leading to this moment. The tears, the waiting, the silence, the battles, the delays, the closed doors, the preparation, the surrender. All of it has been leading here to a question that heaven has been waiting for you to answer. For so long you believed you were waiting on me. You believed you were waiting for my timing, waiting for my breakthrough, waiting for my blessing, waiting for my answer. And in many ways that is true. But there is another truth, a deeper truth, a truth many people never discover. There are moments when heaven pauses, moments when the next chapter waits, moments when the door remains unopened. Not because I am unwilling, not because I am absent, not because I have forgotten, but because I am waiting for a response. Your response, my beloved child. Do you remember when I called Peter to step onto the water? The miracle was available. The invitation was given. The opportunity was present, but Peter still had to answer. He still had to take the step. The water did not become solid before he moved. He moved because he trusted. And sometimes faith looks exactly like that. Taking a step before certainty arrives. Trusting before evidence appears. Believing before understanding comes. That is where many people stop. They wait for complete certainty. They wait for every answer. They wait for every detail. They wait until there is no risk. But if there is no risk, faith is no longer necessary. My child, you have been asking me for a sign, and I have been asking you for trust. You have been asking me for clarity, and I have been asking you for surrender. You have been asking me for confirmation, and I have been asking you for faith. Can you see it now? The conversation was never one-sided. While you were waiting for my answer, I was waiting for yours. Because there is a question echoing throughout your spirit right now. A question deeper than words. A question deeper than circumstances. A question that reaches the very center of your heart. Will you trust me? Not when everything makes sense. Not when every prayer has been answered. Not when every fear disappears. Will you trust me now? In the middle of uncertainty, in the middle of waiting, in the middle of the unknown. That is the answer I have been waiting to hear. Not perfection, trust. Not performance, trust. Not flawless faith, trust. My beloved child, there is something beautiful about trust. Trust opens doors that fear keeps closed. Trust creates movement where hesitation creates delay. Trust allows me to guide you into places your understanding could never reach on its own. Yet trust is difficult, I know that, because trust requires vulnerability. Trust requires letting go. Trust requires believing that my plans are better than your own. And if you are honest, there have been moments when that felt difficult. Moments when disappointment made trust harder. Moments when unanswered prayers made trust harder. Moments when loss made trust harder. Moments when fear made trust harder. I understand. I truly do. That is why I am not asking for perfect faith. I am asking for willing faith. The faith of someone who says, Lord, I do not understand everything, but I trust you. The faith of someone who says, Lord, I cannot see the entire path, but I trust you. The faith of someone who says, Lord, I am afraid, but I trust you anyway. My child, that kind of faith moves heaven, not because it impresses me, but because it creates room for me to work. Fear closes your hands, trust opens them. Fear focuses on obstacles, trust focuses on my promises. Fear magnifies the problem, trust magnifies my power. And right now, as you listen, there are two voices competing for your attention. One voice says, what if it doesn't work out? The other says, what if God is faithful? One voice says, what if you fail? The other says, what if God succeeds through you? One voice says, protect yourself. The other says, trust me. And every day, every decision, every step becomes an answer to one of those voices. That is why your response matters so much. Because your response determines which voice receives your agreement. The enemy wants agreement with fear. He wants agreement with doubt. He wants agreement with discouragement. He wants agreement with hopelessness. But heaven is waiting for agreement with faith. Agreement with trust, agreement with my promises, agreement with the future I have prepared for you, my beloved child. There have been opportunities you avoided because fear spoke louder than faith. There have been blessings you hesitated to receive because doubt spoke louder than trust. There have been moments when you stood at the edge of a new season but remained frozen because uncertainty seemed larger than my promises. Yet I have not condemned you. I have been patient. Patient because I understand your journey. Patient because I know your wounds. Patient because I know how much courage it takes to trust again after disappointment. But now something is changing. The season is shifting. The invitation remains. The door remains. The calling remains. And once again I ask, will you trust me? Not tomorrow. Today. Not after you receive every answer. Now, not after fear disappears, in the presence of fear, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward while trusting me more than fear. And my child, I believe you are ready. You may not feel ready. You may still have questions. You may still have concerns, but readiness is not about having no fear. Readiness is about choosing trust despite fear. That is what I see growing inside you. That is what the enemy has been fighting. That is what heaven has been nurturing. And once you say yes to trust, something extraordinary begins to happen. Not always outside first, inside. Peace begins to return. Hope begins to awaken. Confidence begins to grow. Strength begins to rise. Because trust aligns your heart with my direction. Trust allows you to move where fear once kept you stuck. Trust positions you for the next season, and that season is closer than you realize, much closer. But before you fully step into it, there is another truth you must understand. A truth about why the waiting lasted so long. A truth about why the preparation was necessary. A truth that will finally explain many of the delays that confused you. Because, my beloved child, the blessing was not the only thing being prepared. You were too. Stay with me, because in the next part, I will reveal why the waiting had to last this long. And once you understand what was happening behind the scenes, you will never see your waiting season the same way again. My beloved child, I know I know this has been one of the hardest questions living inside your heart. Perhaps you have never spoken it aloud. Perhaps you have only whispered it during moments of exhaustion. Perhaps you have asked it while staring into the darkness late at night. But I have heard it every single time. Why has this taken so long? Why am I still waiting? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I remain here? Why hasn't God answered yet? My child, those questions do not offend me. They reveal your humanity. They reveal your longing. They reveal how deeply you desire change. And today I want to answer them, not with condemnation, not with correction, but with understanding, because there is something you must see, something that can completely transform the way you view your waiting season. The blessing was never the only thing being prepared. You were too. Let that truth settle into your spirit. Because most people assume waiting means nothing is happening. They imagine delay as inactivity. They assume silence means stagnation. But my child, some of the most important work I do happens in seasons that appear motionless. Think about the caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. There comes a moment when it enters the cocoon. To outside observers, everything seems still. Nothing appears to be happening. No movement, no progress, no visible change. Yet inside that hidden place, transformation is occurring at an extraordinary level. The creature is becoming something entirely new. My beloved, your waiting season has often looked like that. Others saw inactivity. I saw transformation. Others saw delay. I saw development. Others saw silence. I saw preparation. And what I was preparing was not merely your future. I was preparing you for your future, because there are blessings that can destroy a person who is not ready for them. There are opportunities that can overwhelm someone who lacks the character to sustain them. There are doors that can become burdens if opened before the proper time. You asked for increase. I prepared your capacity. You asked for influence. I developed your character. You asked for breakthrough. I strengthened your foundation. You asked for a new season. I prepared a new version of you. And that preparation could not be rushed. My child, if I had answered some prayers exactly when you wanted, you would not have been ready. You would have received the blessing without the wisdom, the opportunity without the maturity, the success without the stability, the door without the preparation. And what begins as a blessing can become a burden when it arrives before the proper season. That is why my timing matters. Not because I enjoy making you wait, not because I delight in delays, but because I see what you cannot. I see the full picture. You see a single chapter. I see the entire story. You see today's discomfort. I see tomorrow's victory. You see present frustration. I see future fulfillment. And because I love you, I refuse to give you something before it can truly serve its purpose. That is difficult to understand while waiting. I know, especially when the waiting feels endless, especially when your heart grows tired, especially when disappointment tries to convince you that nothing will ever change. But listen carefully. The length of the wait does not determine the value of the promise. In fact, some of the greatest promises require the longest preparation. The farmer does not plant a seed and demand fruit the next morning. The builder does not pour a foundation and expect a completed house the next day. The artist does not create a masterpiece in a single moment. Great things often require hidden seasons, and so do great transformations. My beloved child, you have been changing more than you realize. The person listening to these words today is not the same person who entered this waiting season. You have grown stronger, more compassionate, more discerning, more resilient, more dependent upon me. There are lessons you now understand that you could not have understood before. There are truths you now carry that could only be learned through experience. There is wisdom within you that pain helped create, not because I desired your suffering, but because I refused to waste it. That is one of the things I do best. I redeem what seems lost. I transform what appears broken. I bring meaning from what feels meaningless. Nothing you endured was wasted, not the tears, not the disappointments, not the delays, not even the mistakes. I have been weaving all of it into something greater than you can presently imagine. And that is why I need you to stop measuring your life by visible progress alone. Because some of the most important victories occur inside you before they ever appear around you. The world celebrates external success. Heaven celebrates internal transformation. The world focuses on outcomes. Heaven focuses on preparation. The world asks, what have you achieved? Heaven asks, who are you becoming? And my child, who you are becoming matters tremendously. Because the future I have prepared requires this version of you. Not the fearful version, not the wounded version, not the version trapped by old limitations. The stronger version, the wiser version, the healed version, the trusting version. The version that emerged from this season carrying deeper faith than ever before. That is who I have been preparing. And now another truth must be revealed. The waiting was not only changing you, it was also aligning circumstances around you. While I was preparing your heart, I was also preparing the path. While I was shaping your character, I was arranging opportunities. While I was building your faith, I was positioning people. While you worried that nothing was happening, countless pieces were quietly moving into place. My child, the delay was never empty. The delay was full of preparation, full of alignment, full of hidden activity, full of divine timing. And now you stand closer than ever to understanding why. Because something is beginning to shift. Something is beginning to unfold. Something is beginning to move. The season that felt endless is approaching its conclusion. The preparation that felt invisible is approaching revelation. The waiting that felt frustrating is approaching purpose. But before that purpose becomes fully visible, there is one more truth you must understand. Because many people assume their greatest pain was the end of the story. They believe the breaking point was proof of defeat. They think the hardest season defined them. But my beloved child, what if your breaking point was actually your turning point? What if the moment you thought everything was falling apart was actually the moment everything began coming together? Stay with me, because in the next part, I will reveal why your greatest struggle may secretly have become the foundation for your greatest season. And once you understand this truth, you will never look at your past the same way again.